Hi there and welcome to part 2 of the creative act of leaving insomnia. Today we're going to be talking about what causes sleep and what blocks it. If you haven't seen part 1, then please go ahead and watch that. And if you have watched it, here's a little recap. So we talked about how our belief and trust in being able to overcome our sleep issues is of vital importance. We have to believe that it is possible to overcome. Also, that your beliefs, thoughts, and emotions around the topic of sleep are either going to make it or break it for you. So you have to also be mindful of how you talk about, how you think about sleep, and with whom you talk about. Finally, we talked about how sleep isn't something that requires more and more effort. It's the opposite. We need effortlessness, and we need to just update our beliefs and thoughts about sleep so that everything can fall into place and sleep can find us naturally. Just a little reminder, I'm not a doctor nor a therapist, and none of this is medical advice. Check out the disclaimer. Now, today's topic is what causes sleep and what blocks it. So basically, we have the protagonist of sleep drive, also known as sleep pressure, and then we have the antagonist of hyperarousal, the thing that blocks sleep. We can also see it as another kind of constellation here, adding in circadian rhythms. I'm going to show you that really quick, and we'll talk about circadian rhythms more another time, but basically we can see that when sleep drive, which is built by being awake, and the absence of hyperarousal, so a balanced arousal system, and good circadian timing come together, at the intersection of the three, we will find good sleep. Now, today I'm kind of going to disregard circadian timing a little bit, not because it's not important, it's actually fascinating and very helpful. However, for practical purposes, we're going to be focusing more on these two things today. So let's start with sleep drive. Basically, if you envision your day like this road, it has its twists and turns, ups and downs, and we start here, we wake up, go along our day, and end down here where we fall asleep. So sleep drive is this force that accumulates throughout the day. It's a pressure. It's basically something that is built simply by being awake, and is kind of the momentum needed to cross that finish line into sleep. It's best to expect this journey to take at least 16 to 18 hours. That's how long it takes for your sleepiness to charge up, basically. Some common pitfalls, and most of these I stepped into as well. Many insomniacs spend too much time in bed. We often try to catch up on sleep or something. If we've had a bad night, we think, oh well, I'll just have a really long nap and I'll sleep a little more in the early morning and a little more early afternoon, whenever. That kind of depletes our sleep drive and momentum for the next night. So going to bed without enough sleep drive is like stopping halfway and asking, why aren't we there yet? I mean that in terms of the analogy of this road, when you travel down the road and you're trying to get to your destination, in our case, the destination is falling asleep. If you stop many times on the road, it's fine to stop, of course, but it just delays your arrival at the destination. Also, it's not helpful to have unrealistic expectations of when you arrive. So if you drive this road that, let's say it takes 16 hours to get to the end of it, if you, after 4 hours, stress about not being at your destination yet, then clearly that is not helpful. So we need to learn to, not obsess about the destination and rather enjoy the journey of our days. Let's begin this video with an action step. So I would love for you to choose a wake-up time, if you don't have one already, a time that makes sense for you to start your day at. So, and something that you can stick to, that's realistic. Whenever that is, just think about it, and if you have a wake-up time, consider setting an alarm that repeats daily, and try to get into this habit of starting your day at the same time. It's very helpful. I'm intentionally not talking about setting a bedtime, because I think a lot of sleep advice out there talks about this, having a regular bedtime. I don't think that's helpful, because as insomniacs, we want to get out of this habit of waiting for sleep, of laying there and sleep not happening and that making us anxious, and rather want to shift into living a carefree, worry-free life when it comes to sleep. Just enjoying our days and going to bed whenever we just naturally feel sleepy, and stopping to obsess about it. So it's not about setting a sleep time, it's about setting a daytime. And now that leads us to our first creative act, which is creating a way of starting your day that is uniquely yours and that you can kind of do no matter whether you've slept well or not so well or not at all. So just a way that you like to consciously start your days. Here are some examples, but I do want to stress that I think it should be uniquely yours. This is your creation. So some examples are waking up and taking 10 conscious breaths before you open your eyes, or laying there and thinking about all the things you're grateful for or looking forward to. Also, another thing could be opening the windows wide and taking a breath of fresh air. My personal one is actually going for a walk. I love to wake up, and it took me a very long time to establish this, but getting out of the habit of just looking at my phone first thing in the morning and making sure that I get some daylight, a little bit of movement, that's something that I really enjoy. Sometimes it's hard to do, but without a fail, every single time I manage to do it, it's a positive experience and sets up my day really well. So those are just some ideas. Obviously, think of something that's uniquely yours. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's having a really nice cup of coffee and drinking it mindfully. Whatever the thing is for you, your unique ritual, that is being asked here to create a new way. All right. Now that we've talked about sleep drive, let's talk about the blocking force, which is hyperarousal. So if sleep drive is the momentum that leads us into sleep, actually it's the only thing that causes sleep. The thing that blocks sleep, and kind of the only thing that blocks sleep, is hyperarousal. Hyperarousal is the brake in the system. So on this road right now, we see that there's these red lines, and these represent all the times throughout the day when we obsess and worry about either the night we just had and how terrible it was, or we obsess and worry about how the next night might be, you know? So it's basically a state of high alert, excitement, stress, worry. It's a very fight or flight like state of the nervous system, basically anxiety. And this hyperarousal is a very powerful force that is kind of more powerful than sleep drive and circadian timing. It can override both of those, and it will wake us up and keep us awake, even if you're doing all the right things. This force of hyperarousal is so strong, and it has many different faces. Let's look at a few effects of hyperarousal. It could be just general anxiety about sleep, or feeling like you haven't slept in days, kind of an exhaustion, a general anxiety during the day that spills over into sleep. It could be constant state of half awake during the night, like feeling like you're just never fully asleep. A sudden surge of energy, maybe as you're going to bed, kind of this jolt-like feeling that jolts you awake. Racing thoughts, twitches, palpitations, leg or body jerks, worry and rumination. This one in particular is very common for people who wake up in the middle of the night. And then having to pee all the time, even that can be an effect of hyperarousal. So let's look at a few different scenarios in which sleep drive and hyperarousal can interact. Let's say you have very little sleep drive and you have lots of hyperarousal. This would be someone who, who spent all day in bed trying to catch up on sleep, and then evening comes around and now you're trying to fall asleep and you're really anxious. The obvious result here is that you're going to be very, nervous, and this is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for insomnia. You're going to have very little or no sleep, and it's going to be very uncomfortable. All right, that's scenario one. Then next, let's look at scenario two, which is having a high sleep drive. So you've spent maybe 18 hours awake, but also you're very anxious about the night to come. You're not sure whether you're going to be able to sleep, and you have worrisome thoughts and so on. This is going to lead to some sleep, maybe, but it's going to be very interrupted and very disrupted. You're going to wake up a lot, you're going to toss and turn, you're going to be frustrated and annoyed, and probably not wake up rested. Then after that, we have a combination where we have a low sleep drive, which means you haven't spent enough time awake, and low hyperarousal, which is you're not really stressed. So in this situation, you're actually fine. It's just that you're not sleeping because your body doesn't really need sleep, but you're also at ease. You're okay with that. You're just either this is just you being awake and being happy, or you're laying in bed and you're not bothered by the fact that you're not sleeping. You're just resting, enjoying your time, doing whatever, breathing, watching a movie. Whatever the thing is, you're actually okay. Now, the ideal thing that we're kind of going for is to have a state of high sleep drive, so a high state of natural tiredness and a very low state of hyperarousal. This is when really good sleep happens, when, your body actually needs sleep and there's nothing blocking sleep. This is what we're going for. Now, let's just look at all those 4 states. Again, these are the 4 different combinations that will lead to different results. And I'm hoping this can kind of help you categorize where you might be, where there might be an explanation for whatever symptoms that you're experiencing with your insomnia. So, yeah, if you feel like you wake up a lot throughout the night, for example, then despite having a very active day, then maybe you're kind of, you're experiencing the situation in the lower left quadrant here. What we're aiming for is the lower right quadrant. High sleep drive, low hyperarousal. All right, let's remind ourselves that hyperarousal actually serves as an evolutionary function. It is to keep us safe and secure, your survival. So hyperarousal, one really good way to think of it is, or why it exists, is this. Imagine you're going to bed, you're really tired, your body really needs sleep, but then you smell some fire. Let's say, something in your apartment caught fire. Obviously, your body needs a function for you to jolt yourself out of sleep and deal with the threat. This is why hyperarousal exists, It exists so that we can stay safe and that we don't put ourselves in danger by sleeping. And it can quickly get us out of the state of sleep. It often kicks in because we're experiencing the current situation as a threat. So in the case of insomnia, this means that wakefulness itself has been identified as a threat. So there's no actual threat in the room, there's no grizzly bear, there is no fire, there is no snake, whatever. It is just an inner sense of threat. There's something that we sense as a threat to our survival. Maybe it's the fear of what lack of sleep will do to us. It's fear of the next day. Now, whatever it is, when we experience this inner fear and this threat and we run away, and we run away from this in different ways, right? We try to fix it, and this is fight or flight, right? We either fight it by taking supplements, doing breathing exercises and all that, or it's flight, where we try to escape it, where we try to just get away from the problem, and we're not seeing clearly that there is no actual, tangible, real threat to our lives, but we kind of build it up to be one. If we run away from it or we fight it, this confirms to us that there actually is a threat. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and sleeplessness becomes more and more of a problem, and hyperarousal builds and builds and builds. This is why hyperarousal happens. Now, how do we actually get rid of hyperarousal? Well, actually, we get rid of it by not trying to get rid of it. This is kind of a not so helpful approach. If we try to get rid of it, that is fleeing from the situation, which confirms that there is something to flee from. What we rather want to get into the habit of is welcoming it, accepting it, because what you resist tends to persist. The more you try to control hyperarousal, the more it tends to build up. And sometimes thoughts just want to be seen and feelings just want to be felt. This is something as insomniacs we don't feel capable of, but I would encourage you to build that skill, which is just to recognize when you have negative thoughts about sleep and or about anything else in life, really, becoming okay with those thoughts being there, not running away from them because that way they're going to chase you, but rather welcoming them and saying, okay, hello negative thought, or hello sleepless night, hello whatever physical symptom you're experiencing. Can I feel this thing fully? Can I let it in, welcome it, allow it? This is a great way of proving to your nervous system, to your body, to your mind, that what you perceived as a threat before is actually not that dangerous when you really look at it clearly. All right, here is an example that I want to give you. So let's say person X experiences a disrupted night of bad sleep and only sleeps 4 hours. We have vivid dreams, sweating, palpitations. Now, there's two paths that we can go down here. Let's say we go down the dark path here. Well, the dangerous path, I would say. It's red. So this is the person now worries and stresses and starts to research their symptoms and declares war on insomnia. How can this be happening to me? Oh my God, I only slept, 4 hours. What am I going to do? They try to now catch up on sleep. Oh, I only slept 4 hours, so I should nap for an extra 4 hours during the day. By doing that, they're going to deplete their sleep drive. Then they drink excessive amounts of coffee to cope, and now they end up frazzled. Now, I want to make it clear here, I am not against coffee. I'm actually drinking a coffee right now. Coffee is not the problem. It's your running away from the situation, basically, and doing things that put you in a more anxious state. Another thing this person might do is cancel plans with friends and then maybe tell those friends on the phone about their sleep struggles and, oh, I can't come to our dinner today because I slept so terribly, and generating what we talked about in lesson 1, which is this kind of programming of your environment where everyone now sees you as an insomniac and reinforces the vicious cycle you're in. Then next this person would try to go to bed extra early the next night, trying really hard to sleep, which obviously leads to more frustration, leads to you being unable to sleep, then trying more solutions and more efforts, and then sleeps even less and suffers even more because, as we learned, the more we try to sleep, the less sleep happens. All right, now here's a more positive outlook, what another choice might be. After a bad night of sleep, this person could just shrug off the bad night and say, oh well, I'll have better luck next time. Maybe tomorrow I'll sleep more, maybe not, it's not so important. Also, this person would stick to their wake-up time rather than scrambling up their rhythm again. They would start the day just as they set out in a way that they really enjoy, and that way they will be feeling very sleepy by the next night. Instead of overcompensating and drinking 10 cups of coffee, they will just drink 1 or 2 or 3 cups of coffee and really enjoy them, or no coffee at all, and just be very kind to themselves and, just be gentle and we're not asking too much from ourselves, not stressing ourselves out, not being full of expectations towards ourselves, just being nice to ourselves. Then this person would decide to have the best day possible despite the circumstances. Oh well, I didn't sleep well, but I'm still going to go meet up with my friends because that's what I enjoy. And I'm going to do this and that and just try to have the best day possible. Yeah, maybe I don't feel 100%, but I've had good days in the past despite a bad night of sleep. And let's see if I can have a great day today as well. Then in the evening, they would go to sleep when they feel naturally sleepy, whenever that is. It might be an early night or a late night. It just comes naturally. Now, they're laying in bed, and either they fall asleep naturally or they find themselves awake and they end up in that, the upper right quadrant that we saw earlier, where they're maybe not sleepy enough, but they're also not hyper aroused. So they're just resting and maybe doing something enjoyable, reading a book or something. And they keep this positive mindset, and then sleep just returns more and more as we keep this positive mindset and keep things going, keep the momentum going like that. Sleep just naturally comes back into your life. On the left here, if you choose that path, that is what perpetuates insomnia. If you choose the path on the right, that is an example of slowly but surely breaking free. And of course, we're going to have ups and downs on this journey, difficult days, difficult nights, but if we can keep on that forward momentum journey, things are going to fall into place. All right. Now here's action step number 3. If you're struggling with insomnia and if this resonates with you, a really helpful practice can be to write down, ideally on paper, all the things that you struggle with. This is called a brain dump. It's a journaling exercise. So it's just consciously and deliberately making space in your day to worry. So whatever comes to mind, it could be a thought like, oh, I hope I sleep more than 4 hours tonight. I hope I get through the day tomorrow. Oh, I feel terrible. Oh, whatever the things are on your mind, the worries that you have about anything really, but especially around sleep, if you can download them from your brain and put them in physical form onto paper, this really offloads something off of your brain. And this isn't something that works immediately necessarily. Yes, there is some immediate relief in writing things down, but this is something that accumulates over time. So if you give this exercise at least a week, ideally it becomes an ongoing practice where you just make 5 minutes every day, ideally at a time, a set time, let's say maybe 5 p.m. or something like that, whenever suits, whenever is good for you. Because this way your brain learns that, oh, 5 p.m. is the time where this person, like I'm speaking from the perspective of a worried brain. Oh, this person finally listens to me, and so I don't have to wake this person up in the middle of the night or keep them awake at night. I have a time and a place where I can voice all my concerns, and I will be listened to without judgment. I just, all the thoughts and worries end up on paper. This is a great way of processing some ongoing worries and anxieties, and being brave and facing them and accepting them rather than running away, and rather than having all those things chase us at the least convenient time. Because you see, the thing is, oftentimes we carry a lot of these anxieties in our bodies, in our minds, and kind of go through our day, and then when we lay down at night, this is kind of when our defenses are down, and all these worrisome thoughts kind of see this as the opportunity to come and knock on our door and voice their concerns. So we want to make some space for conscious worry, conscious catastrophizing, and whatever it is, conscious anxiety. All right, here's some takeaway thoughts. The only thing that causes sleep is adequate sleep drive. So we don't need to obsess about other causes of sleep, or that we think are causes of sleep. Supplements and all those things, they don't cause sleep in themselves. It is only sleep drive. Wakefulness is the only thing that actually drives sleep. Now, the only thing that blocks sleep is hyperarousal. Again, supplements and all these things usually have the function of maybe dampening the signals and making us feel less anxious and so on, but they're absolutely not needed. I'm not gonna tell anyone what to do and what not to do. If you have things that really that you feel like you need, and maybe your doctor even prescribed them, then by all means. But careful, careful to not develop a dependency on certain things and think that the power to overcoming your hyperarousal lays outside of you. It is more of an inner approach of acceptance, of welcoming, of being gentle and kind with yourself, and being courageous by facing those things and feeling them fully. So this is how we heal hyperarousal, is by feeling it first. I've also heard a very helpful idea of letting go. When you let go of things, a nice way to think about it is not letting go as in pushing something away, but letting go kind of means, first of all, letting in. Let it in, let it be there, allow it to be there, whatever the thing is. Allow it, feel it, process it. That's the first step in letting go. All right. So to conclude, we want to spend quality time awake, even after a bad night. We want to start accepting and welcoming our hyperarousal. We want to feel the feelings, allow the thoughts, and we want to try to not resist. And then watch your sleep return and your life becoming better. All right. I hope that was helpful for you. In the next one, in part 3, we're going to be talking about clearing dysfunctional beliefs about sleep. This is going to further assist you in debunking a lot of the not so helpful thoughts that are swimming around in our brains when we're insomniacs. It's the worry about needing to sleep 8 hours, for example. We're going to debunk that, and many other things that are just, sometimes we absorb these ideas from things we've read or seen or heard, and they are not helping us at all. So we're going to dismantle a lot of those not so helpful beliefs, and this is going to help us further on the pathway to peaceful sleep. So until then, I'm looking forward to it, and see you in the next one.